Be sure to do a nice, out of context edit of me saying I was less concerned about that without, following through with what I was concerned about. Perfect.
Ask the Host, episode 11. I'm Joe.
I'm Amolith.
I'm Gary.
And I'm Jim.
Hello, chaps. If you're new to this show, the idea is very simple. You send in your questions to us at show@askthehost.com and we answer them. They can be about anything you like, but the catch is they can't be about Linux or open source. And this is all made possible by our patrons who get this show 2 weeks early in their RSS feeds. So thank you, everyone. And if you want to join them, you can go to askthehost.com/support. The first question then, Andrew asks, what's the most amused you've ever been?
Quite possibly when a very good friend of mine put aluminum foil in the microwave and turned it on. There were some bright flashes of light from the corner of the room, and I saw some very panicked expressions on the other people's faces.
Surely you should have been scared, not amused.
After the fact, I was amused. In the moment, yes, I was scared.
Well, mine is also microwave related, and it's because of a YouTube channel that Joe introduced me to by an Irish fella, and it's called Soggy or Hard. And the entire premises of the TV show, I guess, YouTube channel, is that the guy puts something in a microwave and you have to guess if it's soggy or hard when it comes out. And I don't know why, I just find it absolutely hilarious. I think it's more the presentation of it than anything else.
Yeah, he's a funny guy from Northern Ireland, and I don't know, he's just this weird dude that I've known for a long time. And just one day this popped up on his YouTube channel. And it is absolutely brilliant. I don't think it's the most amusing thing I've ever seen, but it is certainly up there.
It's just the fact that it's something you'd never expect to find amusing or never expect to find on the internet. And yet it's presented in such a way that it's just funny.
I don't think I can really pick like one thing and say like, this is the most amused I've ever been. Like I've had a lot of amusing moments, but since we seem to have gotten started on microwave stories, I will share when I was closing down the Charleston Naval Base in the early to mid 90s, we had a whole ton of classified and no foreign CD-ROMs that needed to be destroyed, and that task got handed to me. Now I wasn't given even so much as gloves or anything else. Like I don't know if you've ever snapped CDs barehanded. It can absolutely be done, but it's not something you really want to do with a couple of hundred of them. Also, if you've never been in the Navy really doesn't care what enlisted folks do and don't really want to do. But I knew that you could destroy a CD quite effectively by microwaving it for, like 5 seconds. Basically, like you've already torched all the stuff that can be torched by the time you hit somewhere between 3 and 5 seconds. So that's all you put it in for, and you pull it out and put some more. So I started using the office microwave for that. And that attracted the ire of several chief petty officers. But I pointed out that, no, this is a safe thing to do. No, it will not damage the microwave. And if you want me to destroy these 200 CD-ROMs, this is how it's getting done. On the topic of amusing YouTube channels, I was not familiar with Soggy or Stiff or whatever the one you were talking about was. But I will nominate Electro Boom. If anybody is not familiar with that channel, it is fantastic. A clearly quite talented and competent electrician acts like the world's biggest dumbass and just shocks himself in every way possible to show you, the bad things that can happen when you do things wrong. And it's good education and it is great fun.
Yeah, I watched one of his videos the other day where he was trying to demonstrate that salt would increase the conductivity of water by trying to pass a current between 2 forks in a glass of water, and shocked himself in all sorts of hilarious ways. But yeah, I really do like his videos. Really good.
It's always fun. You see a lot of the commenters don't get that he is an electrician who knows what he's doing, and they buy the act and like, oh, this guy's so dumb. And it's like, no, man.
Like, he's a qualified electrician. He gets it. And that's why he does this stuff, because he knows the limit he can go to without killing himself.
The man's an entertainer and he knows what he's doing.
Well, I had to think about this question, but it takes me back to a time when I had a real job instead of this nonsense. And I would not really drink much during the week, but then every Friday night after work, I would sit and watch cartoons with my wife. Well, she was my girlfriend then. And one night I was just the right level of, I wouldn't say drunk, but tipsy, let's say. I had enough cider in me that the episode of Family Guy where it's all about the bird is the word, and he just like kills that joke for the entire thing. And I have never been as amused as that. Like, it starts off reasonably funny and then either gets really annoying or you just go with it. And I was just the right level of drunk to just go with it. And I just could hardly breathe and was like in pain afterwards. Just every time he would just bring it back, I didn't see it coming. And then, because he just keeps repeating the joke over and over and over again. And I don't think I would find it that funny if I watched it again, but maybe I would. I don't know. I've only ever watched it once.
Just happened to be the right level of drunk at the first time you saw it.
Now I'll tee up the Family Guy clip, the one that made me have difficulty breathing. And it's just the one clip. It was one of the little fake flashback, gags that they do.
Cutaways, they call it.
Exactly. And so it didn't go on forever, but I kept rewinding it and playing it over and over again and laughing until I couldn't breathe. And it's the one where he does the flashback where he says, "It's like that time I outfoughted Michael Moore." And it goes to him and Michael Moore walking into adjacent toilet stalls in a public bathroom. And one of them farts and the other one farts back. And the next thing you know, they're doing like a dueling banjos kind of number with like some sort of polka number done in 2 farts. And it's just like a solid 30 seconds of oompa music that's all farts. And there, you can see them pointing their toes and like under the stall to change the pitch. It killed me.
Tom asks, you've been given some bulky carbs and some meat or main vegetables / tofu to make a meal. You can pick 3 additional ingredients. What are they? You also have salt and pepper. Now, I run all these questions past my wife to get her input. And she's a vegetarian, and she said, this person does not understand what it's like to be a vegetarian. There's no such thing as a main vegetable. But let's look past that and just say, you've got carbs and the main event, and you've got salt and pepper. What other 3 additional ingredients are you adding to this meal?
Well, if I've got potatoes and I've got beef, then I'm just adding 2 vegetables and some gravy and making a poor man's roast dinner. That's my answer.
You're such an Englishman.
What can I say? It's the obvious choice of meal to make if you've got meat and potatoes.
I'm still not entirely sure what I'm being given out of that description, but essentially probably tacos. Whatever you didn't give me out of the taco, I'm going to get whatever that was that I'm missing. If you didn't give me tortillas for my starch, then I'll need tortillas. If you did give me tortillas, well, I don't know, some fun veg to, add to the meat or the beans or whatever. And obviously I'll need some lettuce and tomatoes and sour cream, or maybe if I'm feeling weird, maybe some hummus.
What about spices and stuff though?
Again, like, am I having to like sub out like any given spice for a food item? Like, these rules aren't good enough, man.
I mean, my other option was equally as boring. And since I'm sitting drinking a pint of Guinness, is just going to be stew. I just add carrots and gravy and some onion. And then that's me. That's stew. It's nice and easy.
Yeah. I mean, stew's also a great answer. But again, it's just, I don't know. I feel like this rule set is not sufficiently fleshed out. It's like I'm swimming in Jell-O instead of walking on land.
I lack imagination. And also, they're the only 2 meals that I cook in our house is stew or a roast dinner. So that's me.
I guess I could just describe to you, like, the minimum viable instruction set for creating tacos. You need tortillas, you need lettuce, you need tomatoes, you need either a meat or some beans. Some kind of schmear would be nice, usually sour cream, but tzatziki or hummus work pretty well also as alternatives. And for spicing your meat or your beans, you need cumin, you need garlic, and optionally a little bit of oregano.
That is way too many ingredients. That just goes against the rules of this question. You need to narrow it down.
What are the rules? How many things do I get to pick, and what did you actually give me?
Right, let me read the question again. You've got some sort of carbs and some sort of meat, and you've got salt and pepper, and you can only add 3 more things to it.
All right, I'm still going to go with tacos. It's going to be, you gave me tortillas, you gave me a meat. I'm going to add lettuce and tomato and sour cream.
Right.
And sure, it'll be missing the cumin, and it'll be missing the garlic, but whatever. You've basically made the rule set such that we can't make an actual meal. We're just trying to assemble a tolerable collection of food components.
But this is why I went with predominantly English or Irish meals, because they don't have seasoning in. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
I'm going to make sushi. So the rice is the carb. We've got an assortment of fish or one particular fish as the meat, potentially. Add some cucumber, some nori. Those are an extra 2 ingredients. And then a third ingredient, pickled ginger. We've got sushi.
Pickled ginger, but no soy?
It's good without soy sauce, I think.
Sure. It's good without slices of freaking pickled ginger, too.
Yeah, but it's better. I think it's better with ginger than with soy sauce.
I would just like to point out that, again, you've assembled something that is like somebody would recognize it as sushi in the same way that somebody recognizes a child's crayon drawing as that child's father. Because you got no wasabi, you got no soy, you got no sesame seeds. I mean,
I've just got rice, fish, and ginger.
Yeah, that's not sushi. That's rice and fish and ginger.
But then you got to put it all together in the nice little roll, and then it becomes sushi.
Well, I would add paprika. I always say that wrong because my wife taught me to say it the German way. And onion and garlic. And that would give me a passable meal, I would say. It wouldn't be the most delicious, but that's kind of my go-to, I suppose, is I just add those to whatever else I'm eating.
But what are you adding them to in this situation?
Well, that's what he was just saying. He doesn't care. That's what he just dumps on anything and calls it food.
Yeah, like some sort of chicken, let's say, and then either potatoes or rice or whatever it is. I'll just add those things and it'll be a passable meal.
It's Ressington goulash. Not recommended.
Kyle asks, do you have an inner monologue?
How are we describing an inner monologue?
Well, Amolith, I followed up and it seems that Kyle doesn't fully understand the concept of it because I replied by saying, surely everyone has an inner monologue. It just seems like a strange question to me. Is it something that people don't have?
Yes, some people truly don't have them. I'm not one of those people, and it seems as weird to me as it does to you, but I've known enough of those people. I'm not going to sit here and say that 25% of everybody you ask that question to is a liar. I don't think that's the case.
But how does that even work? How do you think through stuff? Like, how do you think, what am I going to have for dinner? Oh, yeah, I'm going to have that delicious thing tonight. Oh, yeah, it's pizza night tonight. Like, surely you just have that conversation with yourself.
You don't have to. You have to remember that your mind is a lot more chaotic and messy than you think about most of the time. Like, most people think that, oh, my thoughts are my native tongue, my language, like the words, those are my thoughts. No, dude, those aren't your thoughts. That's basically running on an emulation layer in your brain for logical thought. Your brain does not natively function on logic. It's vector math, just like AI models. And basically what you're assuming is that everybody kind of focuses their native thought process into whatever their spoken language might be. And no, not everybody does. Some people only actually use language to talk to other people. Now, I will say that my experience has been the folks, and I would say it's about 1 in 4 in my experience, who say like, no, they don't have an inner monologue. Maybe a little lower than that. I don't remember any of them being like technical folks. So that might also explain why it seems extra weird to us, because we're us and we talk to a lot of people like us. And yeah, I've never met a computer person who's like, I have no internal monologue.
Yeah, I think my ability to problem solve or think through something would be really impacted if I didn't have an inner monologue. Like if I'm in a meeting with someone and they're presenting some technical problem to me, I'm definitely running through that in the back of my mind in English. I just can't imagine what it would be like to not do that. Like my whole system of thinking through a process or how I'm going to accomplish a task, I kind of run through it in English in my head. Sometimes I write it down. Sometimes I don't, and I just do it, and then I forget what I ran through in my head. But I just can't imagine not having that.
Yeah, or how do you berate yourself when you make a mistake? Like, oh, you idiot, why did you delete that file? Like, now you're going to have to go to the backup to get it or whatever.
You just feel bad. You don't have to have the monologue in your head to feel bad about the thing you did. You can just feel bad.
I feel like it's a really difficult concept to grasp if you have an inner monologue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's really difficult to imagine what not thinking those things in your head in your own voice in English would be like.
Well, I think it's really difficult for humans to talk about human cognition in, the same way that we probably shouldn't expect fish to, be able to converse very well about water if fish could converse. They're not in a good position. They're too in the middle of it. It's the same thing with, us and our cognition. I think that this is one area where AI has given us some tools to be able to learn some things about how our cognition works. Now, a lot of us, I don't think, are taking those lessons in very healthy or helpful or correct ways. But one of the things that I and everybody I knew grew up believing firmly, to the point that you don't even question it, is the idea that you have to have human level mentation in order, to have a conversation in a human language. And AI has proven, no, that is so incredibly not true. Matter of fact, you don't have to be as smart as a freaking flatworm to converse in English. If that's the only thing that your mind has to do is, carry on a credible conversation in English, yeah, you can be flatworm level. Where it gets difficult is when you have to do that, and you have to do all the normal tasks it takes just to survive as a human, and you got to do all the tasks that you would do as a modern human to function in society. Like, you put all those things together, and I mean, you're way, way, way beyond that level, obviously. But just language, it's not as big a deal as we've always thought that it was.
It's kind of just like, what's the next word that makes logical sense here? What's the next word that makes logical sense here? You don't necessarily, I guess, have to have all of that cognition and understanding of what's going on around you to converse, I suppose.
I mean, you clearly don't, because I assume all four of us have had conversations with ChatGPT, in which case all four of us know that ChatGPT is a fucking idiot. But it speaks incredibly good English. Waiting for any of you to argue with me about either side of that statement.
Absolutely not going to.